World, Waxvillain, Seattle, Washington. You already know what it is. Welcome to Waxvillain Fireside Chat. We got the soulful wonder Charlie Bereal pulling all the way up to talk all things Charlie Bereal. Keep it locked. We'll kick things off real soon.
Every day since you went away, my sky has been a gray.
Yeah, Charlie's in the building. Shout out to everybody pulling up tonight. We see you.
Since you've been gone. And every sleepless night
Brother Charlie, how you doing?
Man, I'm good. Good, brother. How you doing? Nice
I'm
to meet you.
fantastic. Happy to see you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. So where are you based today? Where are you working out of? You in Cali?
Yeah, I'm in Eagle Rock, California right now with my boy Joseph Lineberg at Ironwork Studios.
Okay. How's the weather today, man?
It's kind of here in sunny and then gets gloomy and then sunny again. It's weird.
But I know you're bringing the sunshine, right?
Yeah, always, man. Got to stay positive.
Man, I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. Just super excited to have you here. If you're ready, I'll go ahead and kick things off. All right.
Whenever you're ready.
I want to welcome everybody to Waxvillain Fireside Chat. Fireside chats are similar to interviews. However, we take the time to do the research. We want to make sure that we're supporting and strengthening what's already out there. We got about 10 plus questions tonight. I'm just over the moon for tonight's guest, y'all. Now, when it comes to this person right here that you're looking at, a household name in the music industry. At the age of 9, he taught himself to play guitar. Fast forward to a later chapter in life, late night musicals. He would be recognized by a band member from the late great Aaliyah. From there, he would go on to grace the stage at the infamous New York Summer Jam concert. Simultaneously, he would go on to becoming one of the most recruited traveling guitarists, while developing a rich catalog with some of the biggest names on the music scene, from Timbaland to Missy Elliott to 50 Cent to Tweet to Raphael Sadiq. From Grammys with Soul Seekers to a budding solo career, Charlie Bereal has done pretty much everything you can imagine as a musician. But it wasn't until 2024 when I saw him alongside our favorite soul brother, Aaron Frazier, doing acoustic covers of classic soul songs. I said, who is this brother? Come to find out, in 2022, he released a digital single, Ooh Baby, which I've been trying to get everybody to press because I think it's a fantastic soul cut. I wanted to document a conversation with this brother to learn about the past, present, and what's to come in the future. So please help me welcome Charlie Bereal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I kind of want to start at the very beginning for me. I'd love to know how you connected with Aaron Frazier. What led to that formation of y'all ending up in the studio together, to doing that nice little series of these acoustic covers that I swore if y'all didn't press it on vinyl, I was going to bootleg.
So, yeah, that's a good question. So I believe it was right before the pandemic or during the pandemic, I was releasing music, and he heard it, and he hit me on Instagram, and he told me he liked my music, and we started talking back and forth. I think I was on the road somewhere. I saw him on Jimmy Kimmel. I was like, that's the guy that that DM me, and I thought that was pretty cool. And we was talking off and on, and then my guy BJ Chicago Kid was working on the album. He asked me to be a part of it, and I flew down to Memphis, and Aaron called me and was like, man, are you going to Memphis? Because I see your name on the itinerary. I was like, yeah. So I went down to Memphis to work on BJ's album. The rest of the indications was there, and the rest was history, man. We all thought alike. Everybody was cool. We had fun. We made good music together, and I was able to not only see Aaron in person, but from the gate, we just started writing music together alongside the indications.
Now, I got stuck on Stupid for a second because y'all were in Memphis. I know that you produced BJ the Chicago Kid,
Yeah.
But I think I either heard, read, and you kind of confirmed it there, that DJ and the Indications were all there too. Were they involved in this record?
Yeah.
What?
We wrote all the music together. Yeti Yeti Beats. It was his vision, and he Indications is one of his favorite bands, so he set it all up. I didn't know Yeti. I'm BJ's guy. Me and BJ, we worked together for
Yeah.
years, and BJ, he wanted me to be there, so we all kind of met, and all our energy came together. I wasn't even really supposed to produce it. It was it just ended up happening organically, but all the songs was written by me and Indications all together collectively, every single one.
Now, I pride myself on knowing what's going on in this scene. And what you're telling me is that there's like a whole record that DJ and I was a part of that we really don't even know about.
No, BJ.
Yeah, but you said DJ
Uh,
and the Indications, they did the
no,
instrumentation?
no, Aaron Frazier in the Indication. I don't know. I'm not sure who DJ is.
Duran
Oh yeah,
Jones in the Indications.
yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't know that they. Yeah. Duran Jones. Duran wasn't there though. I never met Duran yet. I can't wait to meet him. I'm a big fan, but everybody was there, but Duran.
Holy cow. This is
Yeah,
like
Steve played all
breaking
the keys.
news.
Yeah, Mike was on the bass. Um, who else?
Was
Blake.
Okonski on the keys?
Who?
Okonski.
Yeah, yeah,
Steve.
yeah. Yep. Blake was on the guitar, Mike on the bass, Aaron on the drums.
Oh my God, there's like a whole album that an entire community of fans that love DJ and I need to go get now.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
yeah.
Wow.
So the singles weren't done by us, and that probably kind of like that's why a lot of people don't know. Well, the first single was done by us, second single by us, but then like the main song that they was pushing, that was produced by another producer. I forget who produced it, but I believe Yeti and somebody else. But the core of the album is the Indications in myself.
Wow. Now I got to ask this follow-up question. You've been with the who's who, the biggest names on the scene. You probably have connections to lots of different labels. How did you connect with Coal Mine Records, Karma Chief, to release that single "Ooh Baby"?
So during this time, I'm meeting Aaron and Indications, and Aaron's like definitely like just us building our relationship. He just we we talked. He saw that I was putting out stuff independently. I put out Ooh Baby independently first, and
Oh,
he was like, man, I think you should hit up Terry. Terry's a good guy. I think he was like, man, this needs to go to 45 like right now. So then I met Terry, and Terry was super cool off the rip. Me and Terry, I like what he was saying. We talked. We thought of a plan, and here we go. I'm with Coal Mine, and we have, so Ooh Baby will be on a 45 soon.
when I played that a couple weeks ago, I got in your DMs about it because everybody was like, "Yo, Wax, what is that, man? When's it coming out? You got to make sure that gets pressed." I said, "Hey, I don't got pulled like that. I can socialize things, but what was the inspiration for that one, man? Because I love rare soul, oldies, if you want to call it that, and I felt something special with it. It didn't sound new. It felt like an old record, and the way that you sung it, even the arrangement, the production, I said, man, this reminds me of something that you'd sample too.
Right,
Give,
right, 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 right.
give me the inspiration for that track, brother. Come on now.
So my wife, shout out to my wife. She's from Philly. Shout out to Philadelphia.
Shout out
Uh,
to Philly.
I was already digging into old music, but then when I got to Philly, it even got even more because, of course, Philly soul.
Yeah.
So I just was going down this rabbit hole of groups, and I came across the Whatnots, and the Whatnots is what inspired that song. Um, Definitely, I have to give credit where credit's due. So that definitely inspired me to just be in that headspace, and that's how I made Ooh Baby. That's all I listen to is 70s, late 60s, 70s music. That's constantly what I'm listening to and studying. So just naturally came out when I did it.
Okay. So are we going to get more of that in the current and next chapter of your work or what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm definitely like I'm inspired. Like I got a new record coming out. Definitely gonna be heavily inspired by the Impressions, Curtis Mayfield,
Okay.
Delphonics. Got a little Delphonics in there. Got a
Yeah,
little
I heard the
stylistic.
Delphonics in that big time too. I was like, man, that word just kept the group kept popping in my head. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
come on, get out of here. Don't do that. Don't say that.
yeah. And, I I know I'm nowhere near those guys, but that's just where my inspiration comes from. I have to, like that's what I love. I can't run from it. It just comes out. Stylistics, Blue Magic,
Mm.
got a little Marvin music wise in there. Just it's all type of vibes. Spinners, like just I don't. I'm just making music, so I don't know. It may it. Those elements are definitely in my music. That's what you're gonna hear. Is you're not gonna hear really nothing new, like sounding current. It's just who I am. It's not. I'm not trying to be old or new. I'm just this is the type of music I do and type of music I like.
You can tell it's intentional. I like I said, I love Rare Soul. I love group harmony. It's got to be at least three brothers to call it group harmony,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
love that energy and it sounds so authentic. Like it wasn't like you were trying hard. So that's really really exciting. Let's dial it back, man. Talk to me about what life was like in your household. I believe you came from a family of
hmm
musicians. Talk to us about how you got introduced to music.
Well, my dad was a professional boxer, and we was living in Pasadena, and my dad's father is a pastor, and at that church, like all of my grandfather and his like my whole family were just musicians. Even my grandfather's father, and they came from Mexico, I believe, and I saw old pictures of like them in a band with a bass cello and washboard and banjos, stuff like that. So ever since I was born, I just saw my cousins singing or playing instruments. But we moved to Pomona. Like I said, my dad was a boxing trainer, and at the time, and in Pomona, I remember my brother had this guitar in the house, and it was drumsticks. In my house, though, my mom sang. My dad didn't really play an instrument. He played congas, he did, but he didn't really. By the time I was born, he didn't really play too much around me. But I always saw instruments, so it was really me going to church on Sunday, being exposed to it. Like I'm sitting there, coming from Pomona to Pasadena back to the church, watching my cousins, my peers playing instruments. So naturally, like I want to play too. So
Mm.
fight. I had to fight for position. So naturally, I wanted to play drums. Couldn't do that because there was too many drummers. So I moved to the congos. I just played a bongo or a tambourine, or I brought drumsticks to church, and I
Okay.
would just play in the corner. And then my brother's guitar that was at the house that I mentioned, I started to sneak to play it. So I started playing that behind closed doors. Nobody knew him. My dad heard me one day. He was like, "You bringing this to church?" By the time I was 10, and then I brought it. He made me bring it to church. I started playing in a band ever since.
Wow. How did you teach yourself to play? Was it just kind of you were moving your hands and by ear? Were there others that you were trying to emulate?
I want
Was there music you were listening to?
I mean, my dad is he's like a soul brother number one. He he listens to like all these groups that I'm talking about, and like when I would drive in the car with him. So when I seen the guitar, I wanted to play a bass at
Okay.
first. So when I first snuck and played my brother's guitar, and I'm not kidding, I know it sounds crazy. I hit the open note and I popped it like a bass, and I was like pop, and I was like, dang, that's a note. And then I went to another note, and then I started playing money, 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 ba da 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 da, and I just knew how to do it. I don't know how. I just knew how to play that song open note, and I played that all the time. I just would play that song and so, any song open note because I wanted to play the bass, and it was like playing with a toy. Like I wasn't looking at it like, oh, this is an instrument. I was bored at the house and I was just having fun, playing the guitar because I knew how to make it make sounds and
Mm,
do stuff.
mm. Almost like gamification to a degree. How do I figure this
Yeah,
out?
yeah, yep,
Okay. Okay. Now, you said your dad, soul brother number one,
yep,
grandfather was a pastor. You grew up in the church.
yep.
What kind of music were you exposed to early on, but also as you got into your teens? What were you listening to, and was there a divide between secular and non-secular music?
Yeah, like that's a good question because a lot of my family, uh, so I won't say a lot, but most of them on my dad's side, they weren't allowed to listen to secular music or it was like frowned upon. But in my house, uh, my dad, he was a little bit more lenient. Like he wasn't so strict, I want to say. It was certain lines like I remember my brother Patrick, Patrick is the reason why I'm able to like I've heard every album or like hip hop wise because of my brother Patrick. But he would sneak and listen to records because there was certain records like NWA. My dad was like, nah, you can't have that. But my brother had it anyway, and we shared a room.
Okay.
And any new album that came out, hip hop wise, my brother always got it. From Slum Village to DOS Effects, all the way to NWA to NPMD to Rock M to and then we had gospel music in my house. So I'm hearing all type of stuff. And my mom listened to 94.7 The Wave, and my dad listened to Frankie Beverly. So every night my brother we would have to go to sleep to whatever he was listening to on his boombox or whatever he had, and he was listening to everything. I was listening to Wu-Tang, I was listening to Mystical, all type of stuff. So it was always, you know, I had a vast amount of music coming at me as a kid.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting? So when I think about hip hop, I think about gospel music. One of the things that I've just learned through people like Greg Belson, as well as some of the artists, is that oftentimes they would want to play, like, say, a popular riff of maybe something that was on the radio and bring that into the gospel realm,
Right.
which gave it soul and also kind of that funky sound. And for me, I didn't have any brothers. My mom was always cool. You know, when I wanted the J. Rue the Damages tape, I got that. Snoop Dogg, all that stuff that nobody was listening to. And so for you, you're getting the original version, and then you're hearing this instrumentation. I imagine you said, "Wow, I've heard that on an original record,"
Mm,
right? Where for me, I heard hip hop, and what I loved were the sounds, those little samples of
yeah.
instrumentation. Maybe it was keys. I always loved dirty drums, but sometimes even the flute. And that was what really kept me more driven towards hip hop because I wanted more of that.
Right.
It wasn't until later in life that I said, wait a minute, they borrowed those 2 bars from this
Yeah.
dollar bin record from
Yeah.
the. And so that was the connection, but you were almost getting it in real time.
Actually, I wasn't paying attention until later.
Okay.
I
Okay.
thought the hip hop was the original stuff because you got to think back then we didn't have uh the internet. So
Yeah.
whatever was bought was bought. It's not like my family bought a bunch of CDs. My only person that was buying the CDs was my brother, and he was
Okay.
only buying hip hop. So I'm listening to like Let Me Ride and Parliament and all that stuff from samples.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like so now that I'm older and when I started producing, my brother came home with a bunch of vinyl records. I start to see, oh, these guys got this from that and this and that. But at first, I didn't know. My introduction to a lot of soul music was from hip hop because
Yeah.
all they did was take the '70s.
Yeah. Sometimes my mother would say, "Oh, that's an old song." I'm like, "What do you mean? I just got this. It just came out."
Yeah,
And she didn't know about sample, but I kept hearing, "Oh, that's an old song. That's an old song." So that's really interesting. Now we got to clear some stuff up because I understand that you took your guitar to church
hmm
and you played Ghetto Boys in church. How did that one make it through?
because it was one of them tunes that I heard and I just knew how to play. That I knew that it if I play this, I can get a reaction. And I was at my grandmother's church on my mom's side, that was in Compton or Watts. I believe it's Compton, and I played it, and I was like, cause I was up there and I barely knew barely knew a lot of tunes, but I was like, man, they not reacting. I'm about to give them something that they know. I'm like, "Bam, da, 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 da," and it was all I can hear was my cousin Corey, like he playing Ghetto Boys in church. Ooh, I was like, hey, I got teased forever for doing that, but it was I just knew, they gonna know this one.
I love it. Well, we could have also said Isaac Hayes too, and you probably would have been
Yeah,
safe. You know,
yeah. And I
man,
just found that I found that out later that was Isaac Hayes. I didn't know back then.
yeah, yeah. That stuff always blows my mind when I hear it, especially when the part is solo. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my god, man, that's wild. Now, what I really want to know is, when does music start to become serious for you? When did you know that this is something that I want to do? And was it a person that inspired it? Was it kind of a milestone moment? Give us a lens into that.
Okay, so it was kind of getting serious when I was around 13. Donnie McClurkin came to our church and hired our church band. So I got a feel for like going on the road and getting paid every week. But even with that, like I still like I was young. I had hoop dreams. I thought I was going to make it in sports or something, and I wasn't really. I'm just being a kid. All my friends play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until my brother went to college. He went to CSUN, and then he came back home with a plan. And he was like, "Hey man, you want to make some money? You got to learn how to write music." So he came home with a ASR 10, a MPC 62, a one technique, uh, and a mixer, and I think a DX7 keyboard and an M1 keyboard. And
That's everything you need to make beats right there. That's a studio in a box.
yep, and he started making beats first, but then he started showing me how to do it, and showing me how to take care of my floppy disk and how to save and how to MIDI and sequence. And he just like, we're gonna start a company, and we started. By the time I was 18, me and my brother partnered up. We had two LLCs. One was a management company, and one was a production company. And we was very successful our first year. We had a top 10 song by our second year.
What?
Yeah, we did "Love Is Like Woe" together with Missy Elliott.
You were in high school?
No, that was so the plan came when I was in high school, but it didn't really take effect. Like the LLCs and all of that stuff didn't really start until the year I graduated high school. And my cousin Steve Johnson, he also helped us because he gave us a credit card. He said if I he took us to the Guitar Center with a credit card and upgraded our gear. He's like, now if I do this, please, what I'm saying, like make me proud. You know what I'm saying? We upgraded. We got a 1680. Was able to do vocals. We got new gear and we got cell phones. We got two-way pagers. We started our company. He believed in us, and in 2000 everything was official. That's when it really got serious.
Man. Back then I was just trying to figure out, what I was going to wear to school the next day, who I might take to a dance. And y'all had cell phones. If you had cell phones back then, y'all
Hmm.
must have been serious because cell phones were really expensive back
Yep.
then.
Yep.
Man,
We
let me
needed it.
dial
We
back a second real quick. Talk to me about how you kind of evolved as a songwriter and how all that got started, because I want everyone to know back then there was no YouTube.
Nope.
And there wasn't even like a library. I mean, maybe we could glean stuff from the Source magazine and rap pages. Maybe, the basement with Joe Claire and Big Les. But we didn't have all that. So talk to me about how you got started with it.
My brother, so I got two brothers. My brother that gave me the game plan, and then my other brother, he gave me the culture. I'm talking about every hip hop CD he would buy, every DVD, I'm talking about everything, even Vibe magazines, XLs. He would hang it on the wall, like who had five mics, who had four mics, who had three. We was like, that's just what we did. We talked about that type of stuff. And when I became when I graduated high school and I started playing with Aaliyah and them, I met Timbaland. And between Timbaland and my brother, when I got a check, I went to Tower Records and just bought CDs to sample. Just I'm just buying like because that was my internet. Just like try to buy as bunch of CDs you can, whether it's Indian music, whether it's soul music, just trying to get stuff that ain't nobody got to chop and sample. So that's
Wow.
between my two brothers, and then like certain people that mentor me. It was Timbaland definitely like helped me out with that, and my brother. That's all we did. My brother came home with a gang of gear from college because his roommate ended up getting a record deal, and he said, "You can keep all this gear." So we just my brother just got blessed with a bunch of free gear, and I'm talking about gang of vinyl records. So between all of that, digging in crates and CDs, that was my library.
Man, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask was there a hip hop record that really moved you? Like for me, I think about, Nas, It Was Written. I think about 36 Chambers. I think about Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. I mean, I remember when my mother bought me these cassette tapes. I didn't want to play them in front of her because I knew it was going to be exposed on that. But
Mhm.
those were the record. I mean, just really moved me. And it was like I always tell people, when I saw like the first Snoop Dogg video or one of the
Mhm.
first ones, he was wearing this green peacoat. I said, Mom, I need a green peacoat for Christmas. And there I was, with my Walkman, my yellow Sportman, the headphones on. I had the peacoat on. I felt like Snoop Dogg. And I was from upstate New York, man.
Yeah,
I didn't have
yeah.
cornrows or anything like that.
Mhm.
But that was how powerful the music was. And I see these music videos in my head to this day. I still know the lyrics. What are a
Yeah.
couple of those records that really moved you, brother?
Public Enemy was one of them.
Mm.
I want to Far Side. She keep passing me by. Uh, Crisscross, of course, because I was young when they came out, and I haven't seen that before, like rappers like that. And then NWA. But even though that was taboo, like it was like, dang, I don't know if I can't listen to that. But every time I would hear Easy E, I just be like, that's crazy. And then of course Dr. Dre with Snoop Dogg when that came out, that the Dog Pound, all of that stuff with the music, like with hearing like all of the West Coast music, like it, it was just crazy to me because I was hearing what the East Coast people was doing, but the West Coast music seemed like they was really playing the bass lines and so that whole movement, all the West Coast artists, Warren G, Domino, shoot, all of the West Coast music, like I was definitely like uh all the producers from the West Coast too, like Battle Cat, what it was doing, DJ Quick. I was listening to DJ Quick,
Quick.
all of that
Great.
stuff. It was just getting in my mind. And on top of that, I was loving the Wu Tang sound too, like the RZA and what they were doing out there. Like it was kind of like Goody Mob, Outkast. Uh,
Staples. Staples.
it's like every back in those days, every camp was hard. They was dope. Like even what Tim and them was doing with Missy and all of that. Like
Tim was
everybody,
living in
every
the
coach got
future
their
back
camp.
then. Timbaland was they were making music for the future back then.
You feel me? You feel me? Mob Deep. Shoot, all just everybody had a crew that was dope. Ghetto Boys and learned it in church. You know what I mean? All
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah. So let me ask you this question. Do you connect with Timbaland after you start playing with Aaliyah's band? Because from what I understood, it was a late night musical in LA where I guess
Mm,
lots of industry folks would come and someone asked you if you could play guitar in Aaliyah's band.
yeah,
But it wasn't until keep me honest here, it wasn't until you graduated that things really became official. You end up performing at Summer Jam, you're rubbing shoulders with Swiss Beats, DMX. Is that what gets you connected with Timbaland, or was it something different?
that. So right now, this time right now, like I believe it was May. The musical was in May. So I only had like the 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 date was July. So I could do the gig. So they were like, man, like the gig is in July. I was just about to graduate. I was still in high school when I got the call. So when I graduated high school, July, it was either June or July, it was Summer Jam in New York. And as soon as I got to Summer Jam, I just saw everybody that was in the magazines my brother had. Like I saw DMX, I saw Swiss Beats, I saw Timberland right there, I saw Aaliyah right there, I saw Bad Boy, I just saw everybody. And then when we got back to LA, Tim and Timbaland and them was already in LA, and I was already playing for Aaliyah. And how they are, they was a crew. Aaliyah, Timbaland,
Yeah.
Static, Player. That's why I was able to do Tweets album. So as soon as I got home, it's like they just put me to work. Like bam, this wop wop wop. Everything was just. I was a part of the camp at that point. Like
Wow.
whatever I played on Missy's So Addictive album, like any guitar you hear on that album is me. I played on More Than a Woman. That the guitar line on More Than a Woman. I played on Timbaland and Magoo's albums,
I love
Fat Man
that
School.
album, man.
That's,
I love that album.
that's me doing all of that. And then we went on to do Tweet's first album. That's me and Jubu on that album. And everything was kind of on and popping from there. That was like my camp until Aaliyah passed, and then everybody kind of split. But that was that's who I was with around that time. That crew in the LA crew with Warren Campbell and Mary and all of them. But more so Nissan Stewart, shout out to Nissan. He the one that, hit me about the gig, and it definitely helped me meet all these industry guys that I would only see on TV.
That is incredible. Wow. Now, you wear a lot of different hats: singer, songwriter, producer, arranger, multi-instrumentalist. Which do you appreciate the most in terms of the role? Um, what moves you, and what is also the biggest challenge?
I feel like it has to be the guitar because I'm a musician. I feel like being a musician is the most amazing thing in the world. I feel like for some reason in my era it got downplayed. Uh, but if you listen to the '70s, most artists were musicians.
Hmm.
And a lot of people look at Michael Jackson's a soul singer. That's his brothers are musicians. He's a musician. I know he probably didn't play, and he probably did. I don't know. I wasn't there, but being a musician is definitely like the thing. And then after that, I would have to say singing, songwriting, but I'm a musician.
Yeah.
That that definitely means a lot to me.
Okay. Okay. Um, you know, when I was, this was in a different chapter, but I was making beats. And what I always tell people about beat making is when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. I had an MPK 49, I had Fruity Loops, I had CDs, and I was really moved by Madlib sound, Dilla's sound, and of course, MF Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of that lo fi underground hip hop sound. And I wanted to make beats like that. So, again, not knowing what I was doing is when I had the most fun. And as
Mm-hmm.
I kind of learned the framework of, well, this is how you do this, and you got to treat your drums, and 16 bars, eight, this and that. That was
Right.
when it became hard because I was like, oh, I can't do that anymore. I can't do this or
Mm-hmm.
that. So my question that I'm leading up to is, when you're around people like Timbaland, you have the upbringing that you did in your family, being around musicians. What is your process for creating a song? How does it start? What do you lean on when you're feeling stuck, and how do you know when it's like, this is done, this is it?
I think I think I went to every phase of like being a producer. Like it is all, and we come from the era where it's hard, so like it's very hard to do. So when I first started, it was the process of getting when you sampling, getting the sweet spot, trying to get your sounds to sound like good. Like you want your kick to bang and the snares, um, and then when you get past that process, then got to learn how to do it. A lot of people don't understand song format. It's intros. You got a verse. Then, are depending on your structure. Like I started to learn structures of a hit song. It's like even the timings because I was around a lot of hit makers. And then I was around R&B people. I was around a guy like Tim who would just do a loop. He'd be like, "You don't need all that. Just give me the best section of that loop right there and rock with that." And then so I learned so many different ways, and I just found through all my life choices in music and stuff, I just find now that I'm free. I guess I know all that stuff is in the back of my head, but I don't think about that no more. I'm free. If it's a loop, it's a loop. If it's an intro, the verses, I just go by how the song goes. But back then, I definitely got discouraged with that type of stuff. But I mean, it's the type of stuff you got to learn if if you want to do this. And
What was one of the greatest bits of advice that you got from Timbaland?
uh, shoot, that's a good question. I'm not sure. That's I guess with Tim, he did he just led by example. Like I would say, like I just watched him. I know one thing I can say. He didn't tell me this, but he knew his worth.
Mm,
He knew his worth. I tell you that. When he stood by what he stood by.
yeah, yeah.
That's one thing I did notice about him.
His sounds to me were always, it was like that was it right there. Like that was the premium sound. The way those drums hit, it was like everybody wanted their drums to sound like Timbaland. And it wasn't just a regular drum. These were sounds that we had never even heard before,
Yeah,
right? It was like he came from a different planet
yeah,
almost. And then, of course, YouTube comes around and you get to see some of these clips of him with like duffel bags of floppy disks.
hmm
And there's a video where he plays something for like Busta Rhymes.
yeah,
And it's just this crazy clip where, like, how can you not get
yeah,
excited about this? I mean,
yeah,
to me, the beauty of the sample is when you just need a few
yeah,
seconds of it. And when you can get up and get excited, your hair stands up on your
yeah,
arm, that's
yeah,
when you know it's like a hit record. That was just something he did really
yeah,
well.
yeah. That's right.
Now, you've been a part of a lot of different projects, like I said, Tweet, Jay-Z, Soul Seekers, all that stuff, man. What do you appreciate more? You know, secular music, non-secular music, which moves you and why?
I think all music is the same. I just think I just like good music.
Hmm.
It could be hip hop, it could be gospel, it could be anything. I just think if it's good, it's good. Nothing really moves me more than the other. I do like where I'm at now, though. I feel like where I'm at now, I loved it more. I love what I'm doing now more than all of that stuff in the past.
Okay.
Because I was hit. I'm not going to lie. I was hit chasing back in the day.
Mm.
I was making music to make money.
What do you mean by hit chase? And kind of give us a lens into that. I just want to make sure that I understand it.
Uh, when I was younger, I was around a lot of music heads, and they would, oh, we need something for radio. We need something we need a smash. We need this, and in my mind, I never got that. Like, what is that even? Because if you're asking me for that, that means it's already done. And what do you? So if I'm chasing hits, that means I'm just going to be second place.
Okay.
So I guess a hit chasing is somebody who just basically trying to make a radio hit, like say if like artists come out with something and then you're trying to emulate what they're doing just to get on the radio, or you're not really making music from your heart. You're just chasing a hit, and that usually don't work out well for people. Like, and if it does, and like even when I was chasing hits, I had, like I said, I never got a number one hit, but I got a top 10 song. And for me, honestly, it's not fulfilling because I'm not being free. You're not getting my authentic self. I'm just doing what everybody asks me to do, but it's not me. If you was to come to my house or my studio and I play you something, you'd be like, I ain't even know, because I ain't, and and it's kind of a misrepresentation of who I am when you hit chase.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes sense. Um, one of the things that I think about when I was doing research on you, I was like, man, long catalog work, been on stages with a lot of people. What are three of your most proudest moments? And is there a story you could maybe share about one of them?
Um, One of the proudest moments was I did Pitchfork with Raphael Sadiq, and he let me perform one of my songs in front of a sea of people. And when I opened my mouth to sing, they loved it. I was nervous, but I felt like after that, I was like, if I could do this, I could do anything. Another one was opening up for Brittany Howard, being an independent artist, just sitting in my house, and she heard my music. And third one would be probably when Jay-Z allowed me to do the national anthem on his out. He had a live show that he streamed on Tidal, and he allowed me to do the national anthem. And he was like, "It's a legend right here," and I was like, "Wow!" Like he gave props.
Man, the biggest stages, the biggest stages. How do you kind of balance the mental and the emotions when you go from highs like that, then the next day we're starting over, we're creating, we're building. How have you kind of managed that? Because I think for artists, and I think for anybody that's a creator, we have highs, we have lows, we're steady and moving. But sometimes when you come down from something like that, you feel some sort of way about it. So how do you manage that as an artist?
Um, so for me, a lot of the a lot of the heights of my career is when I was hit chasing and playing music for people, like wondering what they felt around the time when I did the Pitchfork and the Pitchfork with Raphael Sadiq and the Jay-Z stuff. I was kind of like doing my own music. So now, like when it come up to my own music, being independent, I don't have to answer to nobody. So when I started like doing independent music, I started getting more and more empowered and more confident and more stable with my emotions because I control it. If I
Mm,
don't, I can do a song tomorrow and put it out, and then now what? Then now I feel better about myself versus somebody telling me, "Oh, we don't want to use that or we can't use it." When you're independent, it's like, okay, I'm feeling low. I'm about to write a song. I'm about to get back to my bag and I'm gonna put it out. And nothing feels better than like people that's like minded to give you feedback to like what you did.
yeah, yeah. Talk to me about a really difficult time or a challenge that not made you almost want to give up, but was something that stood out as, man, this is an obstacle and how am I going to weather this storm? And what was it that you did to kind of get over that?
Being in a bad contract the whole time, I was in a bad contract and I was given because it's like I felt like it wasn't no way out. I was in a bad publishing deal, and so a lot of people didn't even know who I was in LA. And like I said, a lot of people that I work with wasn't from LA. So I never got that love like a lot of the West Coast producers got. Even to this day, it's a lot of people from LA that don't know nothing about me and what I done. And I have to sit in rooms and they think they know more or they did more. And I had to like be humbled and sit there and shut up and play my guitar for $200 or $100 just to make ends meet because I was in a bad contract. And then I got out of that contract in 2012. But if I didn't get out of that contract in 2012, I don't know what I'd have done because it was driving me crazy. It made me feel bad. I was drinking a lot. I was crashing because I was just unhappy. Like I was hitting. I was dang near a ghostwriter. No, I didn't have I didn't have no publicist. So I would be it'd be records that be playing. What I'm gonna say? Hey, I did that. I did this. I like like the money it wasn't adding up. The math wasn't mathing. So I'm getting on all these records, but my publishing was I was signing EMI into another producer, and and they wasn't doing nothing for me, but just taking my money.
Wow.
You know what I
How
mean?
do bad contracts happen?
Uh, it could be just a choice. It wasn't like it was the contract was fair. It was I was a 50-50 split. Like they got 50, I got 50, but then LimeWire came out and people were streaming music, and then the bad part that made it bad, it was I wasn't getting my reversions and I wasn't getting on records like they promised me. And I wasn't I was just like sitting. I was a sitting just sitting doing nothing, getting told, "Oh, this is not hot enough. This is not hot enough. This is not hot enough." Every day was like not good enough, not good enough.
Oh,
And I was
man.
getting and watching everybody just win, and they just go with the hottest producer. And so I was just sitting watching. I would get on stuff, but a lot of stuff that I got on was getting on with another producer, and they getting all the credit and not me. You know what I mean? So it's just a bad contract could just be just a bad choice of who you chose to work with. because
Yeah.
I was gonna sign a deal with Timberland, and I had already signed one, and the guy that signed me would not let me out the deal. He didn't even for some. It was so bad that Tim was like, "I never ever would get down with that dude again because I don't see how another black man could do another young black man like that." If I would have went with Timberland, who knows who my life would have been, and you know, every and it's a crossroad in everybody's life, and sometimes people choose the right path, sometimes people. But I don't regret nothing. I'm here today.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. Hold on,
That's beautiful, man.
so you got a charger? My phone about to die.
Ooh.
I can't let that happen. I don't know if that's the right phone because you got the new iPhone. No, this is the 15. Yeah, but yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay. I appreciate you. Somebody get
Yeah,
Charlie a charging cable.
he got me. He got it's a charger studio somewhere.
Very cool. So let's fast forward. Talk to me about 11 11 11. I want to know what it means. That was your latest LP. I love everything about the cover art and the sound on there. But give us the lens into that record.
So around that time, that's when I was free from my bad deals. I had just got off the road, had enough money because I was only doing the road thing, playing for different artists, just to save, save a little money so I could do my artist stuff. And my boy JMO had a studio. And he was like, "Man, it's another room that opened up. You should get it." And I was like, "You think I should?" So fast forward, I got the room, and JMO and his own. He's an amazing artist, guitar player. He's from Long Beach. We've been knowing each other for a while, and we just started working together. And our energy and a couple of cats. It was me, JMO, a producer named Flintstone, uh, Dre Harris is around, Raphael Sadiq, uh, a guy named Mac Mozart, um, another guy. Who else was around? Day Day had an Eric Ingram. So all my friends basically. When me and JMO got together, all of our friends started coming around our studio, but we started jam. Me and JMO was like the main guys. We would just jam for hours. So 1111 was like a project of me and JMO kind of jamming and getting people like Raphael Sadiq would jam with us for like it would be a jam with Raphael Sadiq, a jam with Dre Harris. Dre Harris, by the way, he's the producer from Dre and Vidal. So you got all these producers just jamming. I took the best part. I took the best parts of the jams and wrote to them. That's all 1111 is. And then some songs I actually were intentional, but for the most part, I want to say 75% of that album is jam session that I wrote to.
Man, that is beautiful. What does the album art mean? Because I always think like especially with LPs, I see it as art,
Mhm.
and you're telling me something without actually telling me something. So what does that image mean? What do you want your viewers, listeners to take away from that when they see it?
I was that was me morphing into my soul, like soul brother number one. I was doing all this stuff, and I finally that album cover just show you who I really am. I love
Mm,
black soul music. I love black soul music. That's who I really am. Who I always was. Even when I'm playing Ghetto Boy in church, like that's who I am. So that album just letting y'all know this is who I really am. All that stuff past that you heard, I can do it. I can do all type of stuff, all type of styles, but this is me. I'm my I'm like my father who hop up in a Cadillac with his Congos in the back to go to the park to play him at the park. That's who I am. And I
oh man,
didn't even my dad used to always tell me what I should do, and it wasn't until he died that it clicked. It's almost like his spirit, like just like when he passed, it's just I put on his Stacey Adams and been rocking that way ever since.
man, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. What are the three songs off the album that mean the most to you?
Uh, Father, do you hear me? Um, I want to say, Save You Will Know, and it's a tie between God Bless the Day and a prayer.
Okay. Okay. I love Say a Prayer. I thought that was fantastic. Now, as you
Nice.
look forward, what what's the direction that you want to go? What is next for you? What are you hoping to achieve in this chapter of music career after already having a rich catalog, all these different accolades, the
Okay.
massive network? What's next for you?
So that's a good question. So I'm about to go. It's about to. I'm about to go full steam ahead with my artistry. Like, I got a new. I got. I got. I got new albums coming. I got new albums coming. New content. Um. Yeah, I can't wait to announce what I got coming. I can't announce it yet, but it's basically I'm with good people. I'm with the same people. Like I'm still working with my guy JMO. Uh, now I'm working with another producer named Joseph Lineberg. I'm working with my cousins, and it's almost like baby Motown over here. I'm working with Aaron Frazier. I'm rocking with Coal Mine, and it's about to feel like Motown around here. It's about to
Ooh,
feel. It's about to
I'm
feel
getting
like.
chills when you say that. I'm getting chills.
I'm talking about horns, flutes, harps. I'm talking about we going all in.
Man, I'm excited. And I thought to myself today, I see the announcement Coleman made. I said, man, the timing is beautiful. We
Yeah.
lined this interview up perfectly.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
That's
Yep.
fantastic. Now, there's one question, the last question. I always ask all my guests this. Please share a quote, a mantra, a saying that you keep close to heart, something that you really, really, really value and think of during good times, bad times, and advice that you give to someone else.
It's two of them. God before you, who can be against you, and what profits a man to gain the whole world and to lose his soul.
The pen is heavy, brother. The pen is heavy. I appreciate you so much. We wrapped for about 50 minutes. This is fantastic. I know I learned something from it, and I'm so glad we were able to document a conversation for the community, that those that tuned in now and those that will stream it later. I think this will build on what you already have out there. But before we go, what last minute words do you have for the viewers out there, those that are going to stream it later? Where do we find you? Where do we locate the music? And what should we be on the lookout for?
So I'm excited. I'm excited right now to about my new 1111 is about to be printed on vinyl. It's going to release uh June 21st, I believe.
June
Coal
20th.
Mine Records. And I don't know if I was supposed to say that already,
That's
but
an
I said
exclusive. I won't tell anybody.
that, and I'm excited about this new album that's coming out. That's produced by Joseph Lineberg and myself, and it's amazing. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this new journey, and I'm just smiling as you can see, I'm smiling ear to ear, and I'm excited just to rock with Coal Mine on this new record that's coming out. Like, I mean, Aaron basically showed me a whole community of people that love music the way I love music, and I love the fans. I love them. I just love it. It's different for me, and it's where I want to be. I feel like it's home.
I love that. I got to thank you because, um, I'm grateful to always, discover existing new musicians. But when I woke up that morning and I saw you sitting side by side, Aaron Frazier, and y'all sang "Gee How I Miss You" for
Yeah.
Jades, like that was a Christmas gift. I think I might have had tears in
Wow.
my eyes because I could not believe. I never in a million years, Charlie, would I have thought that artists of today would cover a song like the Four J's, "Gee How I Miss You."
Yeah.
It was such a big deal to reissue that record for the first time, to make it available for a lot of people. But when y'all two sang it, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, you're the ones that we love, that we listen to, that we talk about, that we go out to see and say, you got to hear this. But when y'all took it back and did that, that was special. And that meant a
Yeah.
lot to me. So thank you so much
Thank
because you covered a whole
you.
slew of hits when y'all were doing those acoustic covers.
Yeah.
But to kick it off with the Four Jades, man,
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Yes.
you,
Yes,
bro.
sir.
Do you play vinyl?
Did I play
No,
vinyl?
do you play vinyl?
Oh
Like you
yeah.
got to turn.
Yeah. Now, I mean, back in the day when I had my technique, definitely, and then I had to sell all my gear, but I got my vinyl set up at the crib. So yeah, I'm back on vinyl. As you can see, I'm in a well, y'all can't see it. I'm in a studio full of like vinyl records. So
I
yeah.
would love to send you a copy of the Four Jades. Gee, how I
Oh,
miss you.
oh man, thank you. I would appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Consider it done. We'll chat in the DMs. But thank you so much for coming through, brother. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here, man. I had fun.
I love that. I want to thank everybody that tuned in for the entire 53 minutes and those that will stream it later. Y'all know how we do. Waxvillain, Seattle, Washington. We're out of here.
Peace.